Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me, Danae, and I'm here with a message for you. Hope you're doing well today. It is April 23rd, 2024, Tuesday, of course. I am going to do a full moon quick message for the full moon in Scorpio today. It's going to be very quick, and of course, as always, I'll timestamp the message in the beginning and the reading on the second half, because I feel like I touched on a lot of the concepts of this transit in yesterday's message. Go figure. I didn't mean to, but I feel like I touched on quite a lot in terms of what could be transmittable to today. So I have just a quick few words for you on the new moon today, on the full moon today. And as I said, you can definitely feel free to tap into the message or forward ahead to the timestamps below and in the description box. All right. So without further ado, this is the full moon in Scorpio message. So the full moon is happening today, today at 7:49 p.m. Eastern time. Hopefully this message posts before then, because as I've said lately, my messages have been dragging to load strangely, and yesterday was no different. I was later to the table than I typically am earlier in the day, but it was really no excuse whatsoever for the message to take till today to post from when I actually started to upload it. So you're just gonna have to pardon the tardiness if in fact this one loads late as well. But as with most moons, especially the fulls and the news, we've been building up to this energy 3 days prior, and we'll still be reveling in it 3 days after, more or less, as it's kind of waning off. So here we go. In true Scorpio form, which is of the moon, it's in Scorpio, by the way, if I didn't say that, the operative word is transformation. Challenge, change, and charge on a deep level. Now might be a good time to embrace your shadow with a much needed hug in light of some intense confrontations. Anything and everything that surfaces from the subconscious is up for reflection and release, respectively. It's quite likely that your current values have changed drastically since your last conscious check-in. You may not have even noticed how some outdated ways of being, believing, living, etc. have been lurking in the corners of your subconscious, completely outwearing their welcome per a more evolved, perhaps even new and improved you. This full moon is just the liquid courage needed to see those energies out, in many instances for good, however respectfully. Some people, places, and things were fun, or at least fine, while they lasted, considering with the highest perspective that everything has had a place and a purpose. Kudos to you now for choosing to curate a holistically fulfilling life experience with more supreme sensationalism. It may feel like a daunting task at first, but with increasingly deeper devotion to your true heart's desires, the habit of selectivity can become second nature, and the residual results are super rewarding. Peace of mind, passion, personal security, and confidence are just a few of the empowering effects of lucid living on your own terms. If that truly is the desire of your heart, it's as if the universe is saying, your wish is my command by way of this full moon and the current transits. Ride the cosmic wave on the path of least resistance toward your very own tailor-made truth, and you just might be pleasantly surprised at how pleasantly surprised you are upon arrival. Hell, hopefully even along the way. In any event, there's no rush. As long and as soon as you've decided to take the trip, you are already right where you need to be. Safe travels and happy trails. All right, so that's the full moon in Scorpio. As I said, check out my message yesterday to add a little color to this expression. There are a lot of different transits in play as well that are affecting not just the moon in Scorpio, but I've also talked about them most recently with Mercury retrograde still in effect for a few more days, and then post shadow even a couple weeks after that. And the most recent Uranus and Jupiter conjunction in Taurus, and some asteroids that have an effect as well that from my research are part of the key element of invitation for heightened protection of your energy. You know, there's just a lot of change, a lot of transition. Transformation is inevitable one way or another right now. The only way you can avoid it is just to resist it, but then you don't really resist the change that ensues. You just kind of, delay the effects and essentially kind of just make the journey a little bit harder on yourself. So with the intensity of a transit such as this, temperance is definitely key. To be patient with yourself, to be balanced, harmonious internally, and as self-controlled as possible, and particularly graceful with others, to be proactive about putting yourself in safe environments and in safe spaces, or keeping yourself out of such, or of such things that are the contrary, I should say. And, not being afraid of what we call confrontation. And, I'm definitely the choir in this moment as I say this, because, well, I guess the congregation, not so much the choir, but some people don't like confrontation. Some people don't want to have to come face to face with things that they rather dismiss or glaze over, brush under the rug, ignore, act like it's not there. But this is not necessarily the transit for that. It's just all in a matter of your poise and position of reception as to how you get to engage certain encounters or dismiss them, because there is a respectful dismissal of things that you don't feel are worthy of a certain investment of energy. But at a time such as this, even those experiences have purpose and place, because it's time to really purge things out that are lingering about, like almost unwanted guest energies, that are just kind of hanging around, kicking their feet up on the coffee table, burying their dirty shoes in your couch, going to your refrigerator without asking, staying extra nights, and, like keeping a toothbrush in the bathroom without asking, just making themselves at home when they weren't. They've more than outworn their welcome at this point, and in some cases they never were even invited. Okay. But either way, it's just like you get to take ownership, or I guess reclaim your domain is the best way I can say it, over your energetic space, your mind field, your sanctuary in spirit and in truth. And however the universe is granting you an invitation to do that is with warm welcome and with divine support. How you RSVP to that invitation, though, is up to you. That's within your control and well within your capacity to do so, again, respectfully and gracefully. More so for yourself than for anyone or anything else. All right? So just, as I said, ride the wave Let it carry you out to shore, out to the horizon, whichever it is that you fancy. But just know that these are the changes that your soul has called in, and the universe is just answering your command at this point. All right. So without further ado, next, this is the full moon in Scorpio reading. All right, so let's cut the cards a bit. See what we got. I'm not sure if I said I hope you had a great day or hope you're having a good day. Today has been feeling like Saturday to me all day, like literally. I don't know what's going on, but it feels like a Saturday. It has like that cool, chill, calm. It doesn't feel like a Tuesday at all to me, not in the least bit. Like I low key was like, oh, do I have to go to work? Do I need to do this right now? Not really, but it felt, because it was easeful once, I started to kind of like transmit the full moon message or whatever. Like it was no stress, no strain at all. But it felt like, I don't know, like I was working on my day off or something. I don't know what that's about. I really don't. But I even said to my son, like, does today feel like Saturday to you? And he was just like, oh, I don't know. He's not so tarnished yet to, like kind of crave that type. When you've worked a bit in your life, Saturday has a different vibration. Even when you don't work the same anymore, it's still something about Saturday for me that is just sensational. What can I say? I don't know. All right, Page of Cups. Speaking of the little bugger, so when I see the Page of Cups, sometimes I think of my son because he's a little guy. Well, big spirit in a little body, let's put it that way. But he's also a Scorpio, so it's water energy. And like him with the fish in the cup, you never know what you're gonna get. This is like you never know what he's going to say or what emotions he's going to transmit, because he has my full support and encouragement to express himself freely, and oftentimes too freely, if I'm honest. But that's the cultivation of creativity that I've committed to as his mother. So I'll weather the storm, good, bad, or indifferent. But this is the Page of Cups, which is an emotional message. It could be a lot of things. Interesting. An emotional message from an emotional person, or that has definitely Scorpio vibes. Oh, then we got the Strength card. I'm gonna take both of these out. Off the top, I'm getting someone that is either facing or confronting their inner child. Oh, and the fact that the Strength card is coming up, it might be, it's like somebody is facing some repressed emotions from their childhood that may call on or require some inner strength to do so. Because the King of Cups definitely is a feeler, but he may not necessarily he may not necessarily express all that he's feeling. And given that the Page of Cups is a message, either someone is feeling compelled to share their feelings, or there could be a bit of, I want to say like a struggle maybe with someone's natural, like with their pure nature and with their conditioned self. Like someone's learned how to more or less like how to suppress emotions perhaps, or how to conceal them, or I don't know what this is with the King of Cups, but there's some learned behavior here and some conditioned behavior and ways of emotions that has evolved over time, but that does not necessarily represent the natural essence of the King of Cups in his most organic form. Perhaps on account of some childhood experiences or just life experiences, someone's kind of learned to either dismiss their raw emotions or you know, to conceal them in some type of way, or to diffuse them. Oh, Five of Pentacles. But it's happening. So with things materializing in this energy, what I'm feeling is that there's no way around the expression, the emotions, the emoting perhaps. Maybe somebody is brought to tears. I'm sensing some abandonment here. Yeah, someone's having to face some, oh man, I don't like how this feels. And then the Six of Wands. Someone may be facing a loss, or so somebody could be facing a loss that it's evoking the feeling of the emotions that would ensue on account of a particular loss are more daunting than the loss itself, is what I'm sensing, if that makes sense. That somebody's afraid that their strong conditioning is in jeopardy to be broken down on account of some occurrence, to make them feel like this is like childlike vulnerable. Yeah, somebody's feeling extremely, extremely emotionally vulnerable. Let's see what else we got. Whoa. Whoa. This is a lot of emotions here with the Ace of Cups. That's a lot of emotions for an inner child to, a repressed inner child to withstand. It's like everything is pouring out at once, like past, present, for the future. Like everything's just coming out from that's wild. Like somebody, like somebody's afraid that if they cry, if they even begin to cry, they won't stop. Like their tears will just consume them. Their sadness may just consume them. How that's still here? I must not have shifted the deck like I was supposed to, because this was here on the bottom before. Somebody, I said abandonment before, but somebody's feeling left behind. This energy feels different than these energies. It's like somebody is feeling a disconnect, a loss, and there could be grief on account of a severed connection, or I don't know, a missed opportunity. Let's see what else we got. Oh man. Wow, this came up in the reverse. Somebody doesn't feel like they have the privilege to move forward. Yeah, they feel stuck. Stuck and at a loss with the Chariot card, because the Chariot is success in the upright. It's like the card kind of flipped a couple times, like something spiraled out of control. Maybe emotions spiraled out of control. Got the best of someone. This is, what's this, Cancer? Yeah, that's watery. Then you got the King of Cups, that's Scorpio. Hangman is Pisces. Damn. I forget what the Ace of Cups is, but something watery, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a lot of water, a lot of emotional energy. I mean, it makes sense with the Scorpio full moon. Man, this can also be a car, so I hope the loss is not on account of some type of accident or something more sudden that occurred. But something that makes somebody feel a lack of honor, feel disgraced. Like there's some enlightenment needed here. For a new beginning. But see, the Fool card is headed into the Chariot in the reverse. So somebody may be starting a cycle over, or like I said, it's like everybody's coming into some transformation or some new beginning of some sort. But the essence of it is on account of what you've already invested in this interest. And somebody may have been stalled on taking strides to allow themselves to evolve in a forward motion to overcome some great feats in their lives, energetically, emotionally, psychologically, perhaps. Yeah, like some childhood woundings that they never got over. Okay. So it's like somebody you may be faced with having to now like confront unresolved issues, simply put. And for whatever reason, it feels harsh. It feels like it is for the purposes of healing, which is why the Ace of Cups is here. But the way someone is receiving it and perceiving it with a bit of a resistance is, like I said in the message, in the moon message, it's like it's not making it any easier. Because it is what it is, like confronting childhood trauma or your life experiences that in a transformative sense, you know, with the mind to change and be different and challenge yourself to evolve is not easy work at all, even in the best conditions. But when you're in resistance to that process, it's almost like it's a compounded effect. What's on the bottom? Yeah, somebody's having a hard time balancing the energy that it takes to devote themselves to this process. Just the outlook of what it might take for someone is like, I don't want to do that. They're not even sure they have the time and the energy for that. The Chariot in reverse could be a car. It could also be an officer in the reverse. So there could have been some corruption that someone is now having to trace back and reckon for with the Fool card. And it's like, it doesn't go away until, you know, like the debt doesn't go away until it's been accounted for. So no matter how resistant someone may be, it's always going to cycle back around to this moment of initiation where someone is always going to have to face that foundational place in their life for any possibility of progression beyond it. It's like somebody, I mean, many of us, we all have, but somebody like grew up just completely suppressing or ignoring some really sensitive energy or experiences from their youth. And they feel so far advanced in their years now, at least in age, that it seems like almost ridiculous. It's like a grown man going back to elementary school is what someone feels like. You know, like, I'm too old for this. They feel beyond the years of this experience, but this is what it is until you get the lesson. It's like you can't matriculate beyond the point of where you left off. Empress. And the Queen of Pentacles. So we got the Empress and the Queen of Pentacles. A wealthy, well-established, well-respected, highly achieving, grounded Empress, divine feminine, primitively, but of course not so primitively speaking. And once again, the Fool is journeying away from this feminine energy here. It's like speaking more to that loss. Like, and then you got the King of Cups. So, okay, so what it's given is that somebody, if this is all really about like some love energy, maybe some lost love, it's like somebody may have missed an opportunity for an unconditional type of love exchange, you know, like a very supreme source of love by way of a relationship or some type of, it may not even have to be intimate. It could, I don't know, this could even be mother, actually, the Empress card. So maybe someone is having to, okay, and then here is the so-called object of affection. So someone is having to revisit or is being incited to confront their issues from the stage of nurturing that have either debilitated someone from loving wholly and completely as they would naturally, because remember, this is naturally the Page of Cups and the King of Cups. So their come from should be love, but somewhere along that along their maturation, their life experiences, something was tainted or distorted. Maybe by way of abuse, maybe by way of projection or toxic relationships or failed partnerships. I don't know, like it could have been anything, but with some sort of corruption in their spiritual nature is what has, I would say, kept someone in a very damn, that's harsh. It's like somebody was like emotionally retarded. That's what I just heard. With the Fool card here, no disrespect with that term, but that's what I heard. Like someone literally couldn't get past a certain level of love because of some wounding or some experience. Probably, like I said, this could be from mom or from a mother figure or from some experience of the feminine as a superior. You know, it's like some distortion of like the feminine energies playing a superior role or a dominant role in their life, because the Empress is at a higher rank than the King of Cups, right? Which I think came up yesterday, as a matter of fact, when I said like baby daddy. Oh Lord, is this really that? And then the Empress was like the mama matriarch that is taking care of the kids, taking care of the house. But it feels deeper than that, especially given the light of the full moon. It's like somebody's having to reckon all the way back to zero to where it all began. And some of those memories and some of those reflections aren't or may not be so favorable when you're having to really look at the truth of where it all began, where you began, where the infraction, the tainting, the distortion of love began. Because like I said, someone can't get past that point. It's like they've been a man walking around in a child's body. That's where the emotionally retarded or psychologically retarded, which would probably be some level of psychosis deep down, in a more technical sense. But someone is always returning back to that point of abuse or distortion every time they set out to move forward in something that could be successful, that could be fresh and new, that could even be productive. It's somehow sandwiched in between their past that they may continuously try to run away from but don't get far, and where they feel deadlocked to be able to overcome a certain stint or feat. And it's not for the purposes of it's not for the lack of finding valuable partners, because this is the Queen of Pentacles, someone that is of high value, high caliber, dependable, reliable, self-sufficient even in her own right, prosperous, devoted, committed, trustworthy, all that good stuff is what you can see in the Queen of Pentacles. But it's like every no matter what the caliber of woman, even at the highest value of a queen, someone still sees their mother. Let me see. And it's like they're trying to get away from that, but they still keep running into that because there's something about that relationship that has not been fully healed. Someone might not even know that exists, or they may not know how to heal it. Yeah. They may have, yes, there's some rejection here that someone experienced, that they offered their best as the Page of Pentacles, but somehow they never quite felt accepted. So here's the unconditional love that would be the exchange between a mother and a child, but it's like someone's either trying to find it in other things because they didn't feel satisfied in the place called home, from the womb, or they didn't feel satisfied in the raw, authentic expression that they would have offered naturally. It's like somebody that is really a Page of Cups, learned how to gussy up their offering or their expression or presentation in some way, shape, or form. At a young age, they learned how to almost become or be somebody different, be somebody more palatable or more what they thought would be more valuable or acceptable to their caretaker or their governess or whatever the case may be with this Empress and Page of Pentacles. And his back is turned to her, though, because I feel like even even with their best efforts in that regard, there still was a disconnect because it wasn't natural. That's interesting to see that like that. Two of Wands. Yeah, somebody learned how to play the game of life, so to speak, so that they could like get around. What is that? I don't know how to say that. Like they learned how to in some way like be just and be they cultivated themselves in a way to be just enough of what they needed to be to get by without scrutiny, or I don't know, it's something weird about this dynamic here. And then this, where someone has gotten by, they've been able to, it's like planning, taking a course of action, like they made a very specific decision about their identity, maybe perhaps of what they will express, what they will share, what they won't, what they will allow to be vulnerable, what they won't. And that worked for someone up to a point, but it's not everlasting, it's not long lasting, and it's really not all that sustainable. Because for all the hard work, we're still looking at page energies here, like, and then the Fool, like constantly having to regenerate something, energy, emotions. I don't know what that is. It'll come to me though. Let me get some more on the board. Sun. Exposure. It's like somebody can no longer hide from the truth anymore. They were that plan, that Two of Wands, like I'm feeling like somebody's been able to work the system for a long time. Maybe being able to like reinvent or recreate some character of themselves. I would even say caricature of a compilation of different selves, but never really the depth of who they naturally are. Yeah, especially with the Fool, like caricature, like almost, you know what a caricature is. To fool, kind of throw people off the scent of their truth. They've learned to kind of embellish certain like inflate certain aspects of their character to either compensate for their voids, or just to like almost glamour the outside perception of them. So something is so pronounced, like somebody pronounces their wealth or their intelligence, or their, with the Fool, like maybe even their appearance, intelligence here with the swords, that they're really cunning and sly and things like that. Like they just know how to really finesse the masses, maybe even those closest to them to some degree. Like I said, it's somebody that learned how to do this. Maybe they learned from their mom. As I started saying this, as from talking about my perspective, I never talk like that about the Page of Cups. I may mention like, oh yeah, remind me of my son every now and again, but to say what I just said probably has some resonance here between a mother and a son, and how someone allowed what creativity was cultivated at a young age. Maybe someone felt like they had to be something or someone else. Like I said, to be accepted, not to be chastised, to be more useful or, palatable. Or that like they just literally learned how to do that, like almost shapeshift to some degree from their mother. Or from a young age, they learned how to kind of become a shapeshifter. Maybe somebody even did it out of protection originally when they were younger. They learned how to I know that that's kind of a protective measure for people that have been abused, where they almost like create an alternate reality, or that have had some type of unfavorable or unsavory life experience, where they can create some like almost an alternate reality, whether it be amongst other people or just within themselves, probably first, that allows them to almost escape the truth, certainly to avoid confrontation of the depths of their truth and the sensations that come along with that. Yeah, that's deep. Wow. Well, 'tis the season, with the full moon, that someone can get free from that spiritual prison, because that's what that is. To feel like you can't be yourself, even to yourself, is wild. Like, not, by now you should know I'm not laughing to make fun. I just laugh sometimes. I don't even know why at times. But anyway, the sun is here, full moon or no. You can't escape the cosmic current as it is now, where everything is being flushed out into the sunlight, into the open, where you're going to confront it or be confronted by it. There's no more escaping the truth. And fooling people in your wake, it doesn't really have the same effect anymore. It doesn't even yield the same results, the same satisfaction, the same rewards. It doesn't soothe the same. It certainly isn't moving anything ahead or moving anyone forward at this time. It's like somebody's at a dead stop with that hangman card along. I think it came along with the chariot or with the fool, one of the two. It's like somebody has got to finally pause for the cause of enlightenment for once and for all to move ahead. Or just continue to be stuck in this loop of resistance against what is just naturally ordained to be, which is somebody's authentic identity. It's like somebody's run all out of characters to play. Yeah, look at the Lovers. I'm not going to take it, but it popped. And it's somebody has no choice but to choose. And the optimum choice is to choose your supreme self at this point. No more characters, no more facades, no more costumes, no more lies, fabrications, fantasies, illusions. It's like, wow, this came back up. This came back out. Certainly can't fool the sun. Wow, Five of Swords. Man. Yeah, this is somebody that's like really only becoming their own worst enemy at this point. Even in the ways that they might create opposition outside of themselves, is still within their own responsibility. Like, it's their own accountability for the situations that they are manifesting, because somebody's still trying to run this game that it has a magnetic force attached to it, whereas once upon a time it may have had, it may have attracted small rewards, small gains, short-term sustainability. Now it's like quite the contrary. Like, it's only for someone to continue to try to resist truth and prosperity and productivity is just causing them more and more strife, making life harder, like I said earlier about this transit. Somebody is creating confrontation in all the wrong ways, but avoiding confrontation in all of the righteous ways. Wow. And it's because, like I said before, somebody's trying to escape the feeling of healing. Somebody doesn't want to feel those feelings, feel that pain, recount that muscle memory. They want to just leave that in another space and time, but it can't be unresolved. It'll always reemerge and regenerate in some other form. It's like planting a bad seed over and over again, but expecting to yield a succulent crop. Like, whatever you plant or whatever you emerged from is the seed that you sprout. And then when you sow that without it being purified or, it being transformed in any way, it's only going to continue to be the same fruit over and over again. Yeah, like working, no matter how hard you work, somebody might even try to like dive into, to bury themselves and just work. Like that's a motivation. Like, well, I'll just focus on my work, focus on my craft. So I don't have to think about what I'm feeling, but it'll even show up. It's like I said, it's almost manufactured. This energy starts to be like spores that infect everything that you do until you resolve it. We're talking depression, we're talking shame, guilt, fear, unworthiness, grief. This is the loss. Feeling outcast, maybe feeling abandoned, hopeless. Those type of energies don't just magically appear. They come from a source. And if someone is more diligent about getting to the root of it all, then they would more effectively come to a resolve. And here again, it's connected to Mother. It's connected to that Empress card. Yeah, somebody learned from their mom how to monetize, or somebody learned at a young age. Let me not throw it on mama. But somebody learned at a young age how to monetize their either misfortunes or on misfortune, from misfortune. or to something about monetizing, like almost magnifying uh your hustle. That's what it is. It's something about hustling here, but it's energy though. It could be money, of course, but it's something about, damn, monetize your innocence? Ugh, I don't like the feeling on that. It's the energy of like somebody's mom putting them on the stroll or something, or using them almost as a pawn. There's that baby mama, but you know, like using them as a pawn financially in some way, shape, or form. That's weird. I'm gonna jump out of that. But that is how someone got deflected into being so materially driven and focused, because it may even been on account of their lack of productivity at a certain tender age, or having a void of prosperity or something that they learned the distortion of measuring self by material worth or gain, and then when you can't do that, or can't do that to some degree, and then you turn to certain methods and means to do it unlawfully or dishonorably, there's only but so far that can go before you hit a wall. Oh man, let me just get two more. Oh, snap. So it kind of came up in a struggle, but when I went to grab it, it flipped over in the reverse. Yeah, somebody has just been they've been masking their satisfaction or overcompensating for it, like I said, in very distasteful ways, but it comes from the fact that somebody is just not pleased with themselves. They haven't been for a long time. They've just made it appear to be like they are. They're not proud of themselves. They're not secure. They're not happy with what they do and how they do it. They don't like who they see when they look in the mirror. They never feel satisfied. Like no matter what, there's always this insatiable desire within someone to be sensationalized in some way, but it's always lackluster because it's always sourced through fleeting means or unsustainable means. Yeah, here's the Eight of Swords. Spiritual imprisonment. Or it could be the casualties of their trickery here. It's like when you know what happens when you're not pleased with yourself, you begin to deflect that energy onto others. Yeah, that's what somebody's learned how to do. It's like turning your pain into profit, but not in the honorable way that you hear that term. Somebody learned how to do that at a young age, like to capitalize off of their contempt in some way, shape, or form. That could look like even deflecting guilt onto mom for not having certain things, or to dad for being out of the picture, because that could be the baby daddy or dad that's disconnected from mom, or for him not being, it's something strange here. Somebody's got some deep wounds to heal from, and I don't know if they're like a willing traveler on that road, but they kind of have hit a roadblock from continuing on. Yeah, like that's the Chariot card, literally. It's like maybe some disturbance along their path, like an accident, but maybe not a car accident, but some collision of sorts. Maybe just with the truth, or the exposure of the truth itself has stopped somebody in their tracks, and now it's like they have to reckon with the truth of themselves, even if they don't want to. And it never feels good when you feel enforced, when you don't feel like it's your choice and you're in submission to, yeah, like when you're feeling like bound, like you don't have any other choice but to stay in this place and like take your licks. You know what I mean? Your spiritual licks. It feels like a sentence for someone. Because now it's like the curtain is drawn and everyone can see what's behind like what's really going on behind the scenes of someone's facade. And that is a very vulnerable, that's what that is. Five of Cups is a very vulnerable place to be. That takes someone back to the vulnerability of a child where they don't have a say, they don't have a choice, but to be seen in the most vulnerable state of your mature being in age. Someone didn't cultivate the proper defenses for that level of not delicacy, but when something is well, yeah, it is delicate. It's like somebody didn't have the plan of action to be exposed in that way. They were always able to kind of make up for whatever they lacked or whatever void with a new facade or a new character, a new persona, a new expression, a new stage, a new performance, a new production, a new audience. But it's like everybody's looking at you, and it's like the curtain's drawn, and the light and the spotlight is on, but you didn't realize that it was showtime. You weren't ready. You were still trying to get your lines together or something, or you thought it was still dress rehearsal. I don't know. It's something about really just being on Front Street, or almost like a spectacle that somebody is almost devastated by. Like with that Nine of Cups in reverse, it's like somebody is not emotionally stable right now. They're in a dark place. I mean, it's bad enough with it's bad enough with the Five of Cups, but then you got the Nine of Cups in reverse, the very opposite of being content and having your wishes fulfilled. It's like somebody's not finding luck or movement or favor in anything that they do. everything that they are engaging themselves in right now is just seeming to like have a crumbling effect. Or it just doesn't have any, there's like no satisfaction whatsoever in anything. And on top of that, here we are with the Ten of Swords, where somebody feels betrayed. But it's weird because regardless of whatever external interference that may be present, like somebody really only has themselves to blame or to answer to, I'll say it like that. There's no other responsibility here, not even mom. You know, there are things that may be able to be reflected on from a young age, or dad, or grandma, or auntie, or whomever, you know, someone would want to blame shift their troubles on as another method of escape. It's like, well, if I gotta face this and it's all your fault, you're the reason. But it's like, I may have played a part, or she or he may have played a part, but at what point in time did you miss the invitation to your own healing, for your own self-awareness and understanding, to make choices that put you on a different path? Somebody doesn't want to yet take account, or is having a hard time taking accountability for the way that they sabotage themselves. They were completely creative in their own corruptions, and now this is the curtain call. Literally, it's come to an end, and yet and still it's a matter of choice as to how you either get up, if you can, hopefully, dust yourself off and try again, in the illustrious words of Aaliyah, or you just continue to stay down and wallow in your own self-pity. And that's a deep, dark hole to stay in. It's definitely not, it's like somebody might be bogged down in depression, and it's dark. Wherever they are, it's dark. And here's the light at the end of the tunnel, if they're willing to escape to it literally. But it's given somebody is still too absorbed in blaming the past for their presence, yeah, to be aware enough to see their own co-creativity and to acclaim their creative power and what gets to happen now. Well, like I said, this is the moon for it. It's the liquid courage that you need. Yeah, this could even be somebody that, that's had alcoholism or some type of dependency in that regard. And that's kind of brought them to a screeching halt in some way, shape, or form. It literally could be some type of accident that has become someone's like wake-up call, but just in a very drastic way, where it took something really, really drastic to finally get someone to say, you know what, I need to get myself together. And sometimes it be like that. As long as you're still breathing, like I said, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, another 10. Damn. 10 of Wands. This really comes down, like I said, how you're going to move forward, period. If somebody's going to continue to carry burdens that they've assumed, or taking on for others. It's like either way, you have the choice at the 10 of Wands to release some of this pressure and this baggage just by surrendering to the present moment, to the truth, and to pure passion, not all this like extra stimulation here. It's somebody overly stimulated, maybe thinking about trying to do too much at once, or what all they have to do. You eliminate some of those pressures by considering what you get to do. Everything might not be an obligation here. None of it may be. Actually, you empower yourself by considering the choices that you have in the matter of your own spirit. Where do you go from here? Ooh, Moon card, wow. Well, there's that energy. So for some, like I said, you can make this, we could do this the easy way or the hard way. When it comes to transformation, I'm surprised the Death card didn't come out here, to be honest, but it's probably it feels like somebody's kind of like hanging on the edge of death by way of transformation. It's like they're kind of teetering the line. There's really nowhere else to go but forward. Otherwise, somebody is kind of like walking dead in this energy. Like, who wants to wake up to this every day? The 5 of Cups, the 9 of Cups in reverse, the 10 of Swords, and the 10 of Wands. With the Moon card, that's fears, illusions, obscurity and mystery and the unknown. You don't know what tomorrow holds. You're scared to go home at night, and you don't want to face the day. That's the energy here. Like, you can't sleep at night. You don't want to wake up and face the day. That's that. Nobody wants to live like that. That is not living. I can't even say that's existing. I don't even know what that is, to be honest. But yeah, like, I feel like this is like the expression of the worst of it, though. Like, otherwise, the cycle as it is now is to help you advance in the ways in which you desire to be and to live and to do, and the things you want to have. Like, whatever your soul has been calling out for from a foundational spectrum is what the universe is answering to. The most disparaging outlook is when someone has been so disconnected from their pure spirit that they don't really know, they're not really that familiar with what the true essence of them desires, because they've kind of been heaping up a whole bunch of stuff on top, like piling up a whole bunch of other stuff. It's like having a whole bunch of mixed messages in the psyche at this point, and it's all jumbled up and distorted. Like, every personality is vying for another thing, of which someone created for themselves, but who they are at the foundation, in their purest form, really wants to be healed. And that's what the spirit is answering to. Like, that child within us all wants to be healed. And so if there is a whole bunch of rubbish and interference between that command and that call, is where there's a conflict in how it gets answered, because you yourself and the persona you create in this regard becomes like the interference in that transmission, which is why, like I said, a lot of what we are receiving now is on account of what interest we've invested in. Some of us have done a lot of the clearing, as much as we could be intentional to do, some of which we still have left to do that we didn't know it's like, it's not like the work is ever 100% done, but it's how you initiated that process or allowed yourself to be initiated into that process that determine what results are yielded now, that the universe is like answering orders, answering commands. It's like, all right, so your heart's desire is to X, Y, and Z. Now, how many layers of rubbish do I need to get through to actually give you what your inner child is calling for? If you've done a lot of the clearing, a lot of the releasing, a lot of the deep diving, excavating, and the healing, and the dark night of the soul, and really becoming aware of who you are on a soul level, when it hurts, when there were tears, and when it was exciting and elating. You've done a lot of the heavy lifting here with the Ten of Wands for the spirit to then come through with much less to move around or move through. So, like I said, everybody's getting the invitation or the opportunity to transform. How you receive it, though, how you answer to it now, regardless of how much work you've done up to this point, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter anymore. It only matters, like I said, as to what you're going to do with who you are, and what you have on hand, and what opportunities exist in this moment. So just remember, like, through this experience of this transit, the change that you may see is at a soul level the change that you wished to be. All right, so happy full moon to you. Take care of yourself, rest, rejuvenate. Like I said in my message, there's no rush, there's no race. There's a lot of energies that may want to make you feel like you need to make up for lost time, or hurry up and buy and do something erratic or impulsive, or like it's a race against time. It's not. It's just really a matter of your submission to the invitation of co-creation. It's always open. It's always an open invitation. So be graceful with yourself and others on how you RSVP, and just dress to impress, I suppose, or come as you are. There's that invitation as well. I guess there really is no dress code, but your presence is very much so needed and welcomed. All right. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Thank you for listening and watching. Until next time, as always, I leave you with peace.